Welcome to The Human Experience, a podcast about the stories we live out every day and the importance of championing the vulnerability and courage of the storyteller. I'm your host, Jennifer Peterkin, and it was through my own lived story of experiencing domestic violence that this podcast was created. By traveling the globe and interviewing each guest in person, I am convinced now more than ever that stories have the power to change the world. You can join our community of storytellers by subscribing, leaving a rating and review, signing up for my newsletter, following me on Instagram, and more. Thank you for being here. In a world full of noise, to listen with intention is an act of resistance. Episode 69 of The Human Experience is Katya's story. Katya's life was, by most standards, pretty normal. She was excelling both personally and professionally, and while she wouldn't have said she was fulfilled, she didn't have much to complain about. But seemingly overnight, Katya's life would take a drastic turn. For almost 4 years, Katya suffered from debilitating pain so intense she considered ending her life. During this period of intense chronic pain, Katya would also be diagnosed with cancer. She found herself walking through what seemed like endless darkness. But a pivotal moment would ignite her journey towards wholeness when Katya realized that she had the power within her to heal. Katya poured herself and her resources into educating herself about the mind and how our subconscious has both the power to keep us bound and set us free. Now, she takes the very methods that healed her and shares them with other women to help them heal as well through her signature program, Golden Bridge. A brief content warning before we begin. This episode contains mention of mental health and suicide. This episode was recorded in Robinj, Croatia. Katya, it's so good to be here with you in Croatia, in Robinj. Did I pronounce that right? Okay, Robinj. This is my first time in Croatia, so I'm very impressed thus far. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. So I feel very lucky to be able to come here and stay in this beautiful place and meet you. And I know we haven't known each other for that long, but I think you're so beautiful and so lovely. And so I can't wait to hear your story. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. And the luck is all mine because, I know it's like you are an amazing person.
Thank you.
We had a talk with a coffee on the seaside of this beautiful town. And that beauty that you can see outside is in you.
Thank you. That's so sweet. So I am so excited to hear your story. I know I told you a little bit of mine during coffee, and I didn't want to ask you too many questions because I didn't want to get too far into it. But I'm so excited to hear your story. I know a little bit about you and the programs that you run now, but your story, what does that mean to you? When somebody asks you, what's your story? What does that mean to you?
Well, it means my story was a path, a harsh path, but a path back to myself. And let's say that when I was very young, I always loved to talk to people, to listen to their stories. I always saw the soulful part of the person. And I was very spiritual from the young age, out of nowhere. Like, I didn't hear about spirituality from nowhere. I have those tendencies to listen to people, I was very empathic and, as I told you, spiritual from when I was 8 years old. I meditated not knowing it was a meditation, like just floating in the universe between the planets, relaxing myself, feeling at home. But life happens when you are not looking. And I just got myself into corporate world. I loved every job I had. I really loved it and did it very well. But it was not passion. It was not felt deeply. What happened? How I came back to myself. It was a wake-up call, a harsh one, because I was pretty deaf to other calls that I had. I can tell you that I didn't want to deal. When I was younger, I decided I don't want to deal with that tender part of people, because I just didn't know how to create a balance, not to get too engaged and to protect myself. So and then a little bit confusing in my talk right now,
No,
but
you're doing great.
I'm going back and forth. I told you about the spiritual part. I can tell you that till the age of 18, I was a Reiki master already.
Oh, wow.
And for me, energetic part of human existence was such a normal thing. What I got scared in the moment when I realized that everything I do on the energetic level, it works. It felt so much of a responsibility. What if I do something wrong? I had experience and I had so little knowledge. And then I just shut the door to everything that I belonged to, that felt home. And that brought me to the corporate world. Life goes on, and I just forgot all about my essence that I discovered at a very early age and then shut the door to it. And then one day I woke up in a horrible physical pain from the top of my head till the little toe. I was in such pain. I couldn't talk. I couldn't open my mouth. And I was just laying and twitching. And after 3-4 hours like this, taking all the painkillers that I could find, nothing had helped me. And my husband just drove me to the ER. And they couldn't find what was wrong with me. And they just anesthetized me. And so I slept till the morning. Then I saw a rheumatologist. And they said fibromyalgia. All right, and I was searching about it, what it isn't. It is everything and it's nothing.
Yes.
Well, then things got worse. I have severe headaches. I couldn't walk. I just couldn't stand on my feet. Then I went all around the Europe, trying to find some help, some answers, something to know what's happening to me. In Germany, they made some tests on me. They said Lyme disease. All right, Lyme disease. Then I went to London. They made other tests. They said, oh my God, mercury poisoning on a cellular level. Every cell of your body, it's fully loaded with mercury. Gee, okay. So many diagnoses and so little help. And my situation got worse and worse. I started to losing eyesight.
Wow.
And I became just skin and bones. Couldn't eat anything because my body was attacking myself. Everything that I ate, like, you say, apple is healthy, not for my body. It says, go away, you imposter. Yeah, actually, I was in a very, very dark place. It was so long. 4 years is a very long time.
Okay, yeah.
And 1 year I was in bed. I couldn't just get on my feet. And it was that pain that lasted really 24 hours a day and no relief. Nothing. They gave me even some pills, opium pills. Nothing gave me any relief. And I was dealing with much anger. I was angry at everyone, at the life, God. And, the world around me just kept on rolling. And everyone was living their life. And I was stuck in my bedroom and thinking that how I will just slowly die and that this is it. And that no one is going to help me. No one can help me. I couldn't understand why I'm left so alone. And then I isolated myself too. I stopped to answering the phone of my friends because, they would ask me, how are you? And I was so tired of saying I'm not good or lying all is well. So at one point, I even thought about suicide. And I can tell you it was just a thought that I was in my bed and I was looking in front of me. There was a tie, a red tie of my husband. And I was thinking how I can hang myself with a tie. And just a thought about it scared me a lot. I called the number for online help and I was crying. I was crying because that thought that had scared me so much, it was so steady, so firm, and I felt that I was in a hole. And it scared me, the thought that it came up into my mind, but not the very thing. And then I called my husband and he came right away home. And I was crying, telling him there's something wrong with me, and he was pretty good, I can tell you. Why? He was talking to me like, okay, now explain me, how would you do it? I don't want to think about it. I said, no, think about it. How would you do it? Have you seen the tie? That is so short. And where? Tell me where you would hang yourself. And I was so scared to think about it. I was like, come on, leave me alone. They were, no, you have to talk about it. Tell me. And he was like, and do you know? And I would say, then if I could not hang out myself, I would jump out of the window. And he was like, come on, we are on the first floor. And the poor guy down there has dementia. So if he finds you there, like lying, my God, poor guy. And you like him, right? And I was like, oh, yes, come on. He made me smile.
Yeah.
And he made me to look at the scariest thing that I had encountered in my head. And he made me realize how ridiculous it was when you're going through step by step. I didn't know what to do. So actually, I was afraid just of the thought about it.
That is so smart. It's a anxiety tactic to desensitize your anxiety, right? That is just fabulous that he just knew to go there. Wonderful.
Yeah. He's amazing, really. I say to him often, he's a natural. I had to leave certain things to to get the knowledge, the skills. He's a natural. He's like...
He just knew.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And let's say that there was a morning. I will never forget that morning when I woke up and I had to go to the bathroom, and usually I went on my floor. And then I started to get up, relying on the sink. And then I
Slept? Yeah.
And then I fell down and hit my head on the tiles.
Oh.
And then I started to cry. And I cried a lot. And I cried so hard and that louder and louder. And I heard myself in that bathroom screaming, why nobody helps me? Please help me. I heard myself. It's outside of myself, screaming and crying. And I was so fed up with everything, with all the pain. I just couldn't do it anymore. I don't know how long it has passed, but I remember that I was so tired. After you cry for so long, desperately, you just end up so tired. And in a short period of that silence, I heard a voice coming out from, I would say nowhere, but it's better to say from everywhere. Says, you are not alone. You got yourself. You will help yourself. And that voice was so strong, was so powerful. I believed it. Something has shifted in that moment. And I was not a great believer at the time. I was a big thinker. And I would question everything. And I didn't question that. I just believed it. It was so strange. It's like as something has died that morning, and a part of me that has died, and a new part of me that has been born or just uncovered. Then I got up little by little and I looked myself in the mirror. Yes, I saw my face. That was a face, a suffering one with eye bags and nothing pretty to see. But I was looking like into my eyes, in the mirror, somewhere beyond, and I just knew. I knew that something has shifted and that I will be okay. I didn't know how, didn't know where to start. I haven't had a clue. But I was full of faith. And that changed everything, the course. I started to immerse myself into study the mind. I meditated every day. It was difficult because my memory was very bad. I couldn't concentrate because of the pain. I couldn't think of the pain because of the pain, because it was constant, no relief. But I started with transcendental meditation, something that I knew years before and never used it as a tool. And I started, and I can tell you that in a month and a half, I had my maybe 10 seconds that I could detach from my body and from the pain. And it was the best 10 seconds of my life. And then I just started to study all certifications that I have, and many are like oh, wow, you are this and that. And yes, but those don't mean anything. What it means that I had used the knowledge, I have mastered the knowledge. I was my experiment, so I could see what helps in the short run, what helps in the long run, what is suitable for pain relief or for a change, but what about the transformation? What about the core? Not only to have the relief after something happens, but why it has happened. And this is what this path got me. In a year and a half working on myself, I got healthy and free.
Wow.
And my doctors couldn't believe it. Like, what have you done? I came back to myself. I found out, and I'm a strong believer, everything starts with emotions, and everything starts with a trapped, unreleased, unprocessed emotions. And 95% of those has its roots into our early childhood, our formative years till the age of 7. And to access there, at the very beginning, at the root where the problem has started, I find hypnosis a wonderful tool. Since till the age of 7, we are operating in a beta brainwave state. And with hypnosis, we are going back to that theta state. And there is the playground where the inner child is playing. And we can change the narrative. We can change all that we have errantly wired. Because sometimes it's not only a trauma. When someone says trauma can be everything.
Yeah.
Usually is your needs weren't met.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what kind of needs. Your needs weren't met.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. That was so much good information. I am amazed to hear this part of your story. I know a little bit about the mystery diagnosis. So I started in functional medicine last year. And that was the first time I saw a functional practitioner. And I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was 20. I've been tested for lupus and Lyme disease over and over again. You have chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started seeing this functional practitioner, and it wasn't for necessarily the fibromyalgia. I kind of accepted, this is what it is. I've been living with it for 15 years and it's going to be what it's going to be. I don't have any fix for this. I just kind of have to accept it. Ran a bunch of tests. Found out I don't have fibromyalgia. I don't have any autoimmune issues. And there was this anger when I found that out. I mean, there was a relief, but there was also anger because I'd spent 15 years thinking that there was nothing that could be done because this amorphous diagnosis was just sitting there and nobody really knew what it was or how to treat it. And so it's still, we're still kind of trying to figure things out, but knowing that's not what it is. And it was just kind of put like, okay, this is what it should be because we've tested you for lupus and Lyme like a dozen times and you don't have either of those. So when you said fibromyalgia, I was like, oh, I've been there literally. And then you said Lyme and okay.
It's connected.
It is, but it's so interesting. And I love hearing you talk and I'm excited to hear more just about, because I do believe that healing trauma does have such a physical effect on us. And I also agree that we are too conservative with the view of trauma. We don't employ the word enough because it doesn't have to be this big, scary thing. It's just a word to express the things that we have been through that have changed who we are, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, all of the above, right? Because it's all connected.
Absolutely.
So how old were you when this started? And it was just sudden, you said, right?
Yes, it was. The trigger maybe was a flight. I was flying back from Spain and was a really scary flight. There was a stormy night and pilot couldn't land. He tried several times. Kids were crying in the airplane. My husband gave me his hand and he looked at my eyes and he said, I love you. And I was like, oh, come on, get out of here. Come on. No. So yeah, it was a scary flight.
Yeah.
And it started the next morning and it was 2013. The next morning, I was all twitched, all in pain, all of a sudden, with no warning. Well, no warning. This is, that would be not properly true because we all have warnings. When it comes to the physical level, we have to, we have 4 layers mainly. Let's say an energetic one, a mental one, emotional one, and a physical one. When it happens, when the illness happens, it means that has surpassed all the barriers. This is the ultimate calling. Like, now can you hear me? Now you cannot.
Do I have your
me.
attention?
Absolutely. And so, yes, before I had symptoms. I had anxiety. I had some panic attacks. And people are so afraid of panic attacks. I get it. Been there for 20 years. But what actually a panic attack is, or a strong anxiety, it's only a sign that says, help me. I'm not feeling comfortable in the role that you are playing right now in your life. It's your soul that is asking for help. See me, hear me. This is not who we are. Please. And this is it. But when we encounter such unpleasant feelings and states, we usually tend to run away. But you cannot run away from yourself.
Yeah.
And there is nothing scary if you look right into the eyes. It's a little kid that it's making noise, unbearable noise. But when you get closer, you can even see that he has the rest of the chocolate around his mouth, and that he needs your hand, and he wants to talk to you, to be seen, to be heard, to be felt. And this is what all it is. Panic attacks, fears, anxiety, even depression. It's just the way that it says, please, see me, look at me. We've been lost. It's not who we are. Change the route, please.
I love that visual because I think it so perfectly encapsulates the picture that it's all connected. You know, every part of us is connected. And when we neglect one part, the other parts will eventually suffer. You know, we will start to see that suffering. And I think it's so true. And it's ancient too, right? There's so many ancient practices about mind, body, soul connection. And we kind of brush it off as like, oh, you know, that's old, whatever, woo-woo stuff that nobody needs to, that's not real. And Western medicine is the only way forward. And, you know, I believe there's a place for Western medicine, to be sure. But I think that there is something innate in us that knows that it's all connected. And when we start to tune in to that, then we really see the benefits of making those connections. But it's hard to tune in, especially if you grow up in a culture that doesn't value those connections, right?
Absolutely.
And it almost takes getting to that point of suffering and pain and not being able to get out of bed until you go, okay, I give up. What can I do? Because nothing is working.
Yes. It's difficult, but it's more easier now than ever.
Yeah.
Why? Because today in the world of the internet, we have access to all the informations that we need or want to. That was not possible for the generations of our parents or grandparents. So we are blessed with it. The thing that surely would really help is to, not that would really help, let me say like this, the internet era has blessed us with information, but there is a little curse in it. And that's that we don't know how to use those information. We got flooded with it. We just don't manage our time well. What does it mean? We need distractions. When we are feeling sad, we have distractions. And those distractions are so easy, are within our reach of one click. When COVID was in act, I had so many people reach out to me because they were alone at home, and some of them, for the first time, they were alone with themselves, with their thoughts, feelings, And they were scared to death
Yeah.
to get to know that person who is sitting on their couch.
Yeah.
And, but ask anyone, that was the best thing that could ever happen to them, to every one of them who were initially so scared, because, they didn't choose that. They were forced to, and they had that a rendezvous with themselves. And some found that they liked the person that was sitting on their couch. Some people haven't, but that was the real input to, put all the cards on the table and say, all right, let me see. Who am I? What I feel about myself? What I wanted to be? How I, go back and to see the present, to look at the line. What would my younger self say about me? Would my 4 years me be proud of me? Or my 90 years old self would be proud of me today? So many good things comes out when we build that relationship with ourselves. Is the only relationship that really, really, really matters, that can change your course of your life, is to get to know yourself, to get you to know yourself in every way, in every aspect, without judgment, without criticism, to leave out of the equation everything that it's not you, that it's borrowed, that it's inherited, that it's learned from others. Because I think when we are talking about up-leveling, growing, personal development and everything, you are not going actually anywhere. You are going back to yourself. It's inward that actually permit the expansion.
Yeah.
So going back, and you're not becoming something more, something bigger, something better. Actually, no. You're decluttering because you are perfect. You're born perfect. You're divinely perfect. So what you're doing actually is decluttering, like when a diamond is found and then you brush it, then you can see the diamond in all its brilliance. So you have to unlearn things.
Yeah. Unlearning is a huge part.
Unlearning. Absolutely. Unlearning.
I think it's so true. We have so much access, and it is a blessing and a curse, because the access means that anybody at any time could have what they need at their fingertips. But it also means there's so much noise. And how do you focus in on something? And I think that is the hardest part for ourselves. I mean, it's uncomfortable to start, right? Because you have to, it's like any exercise. It's going to hurt at first. It's going to feel really uncomfortable, like you're stretching yourself too far, until you get into a routine and you build up your strength there. And in our world of instant gratification, and there's so much noise around us, again, like you said, they're having to sit with ourselves and figure it out. It is a discipline. And I think it's so important, though, that we pursue it, that we move forward with it, because our health is our responsibility, right? So when you say like there's no more important relationship, nobody else is responsible for your happiness, for your joy, for your peace. Like you are responsible for your own well-being. And so if we don't do the practice, if we don't dive into ourselves, then we are destined to constantly be seeking outside sources to fill that happiness, that peace, that joy, whatever, and to be disappointed because we're not sitting with the things that truly matter.
Absolutely. I always say, and sometimes it can sound harsh, but I always say to my clients, no one owes you anything. No one in the world, but you owe everything to yourself. You, no one else. Not me, not your parents, not your children. No one owes you anything. When you realize that, it can be, you can feel a little bit lonely, but it's just for a second, because the real truth behind it, it's empowering. No one owes you anything, and you owe everything to yourself. That implies that you can give everything to yourself. You have the ability. You are the source of it. And the mind, as you said, it's a knife with two sides. You have to discipline your mind in order to be free. It seems as a paradox, but a disciplined mind brings you freedom. A mind that is chaotic, it's like a herd of horses going everywhere, at the end ending nowhere.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that we are built for community and we're built for relationship. But if we are seeking to make ourselves feel better with that and not pursuing community and relationship out of a sense of security within ourselves, then yeah, we set ourselves up for failure. We set ourselves up for disappointment. And so it only helps us be better for and around other people as well when we are taking care of our own health, right? And I mean, at the end of the day, no one is coming to rescue you. So you have to be willing to put the work in for yourself. And, I think we were talking about this a bit earlier as well, but you think you would do that for other people in your life that you love. You would want to go the extra mile for them, but are you willing to do that for yourself? Are you willing to go the extra mile to heal yourself and learn about yourself? So, did you ever get an official diagnosis?
Yes, absolutely. Fibromyalgia was official. Lyme disease was official.
Oh, they all stayed. Okay.
But you can imagine something like this in Germany was official, but in Italy they wouldn't transcribe it because they said they don't approve their methodology.
Okay.
So it was very messed up.
Yeah. So you had these official diagnoses and they kept stacking up, is what it sounds like. You kept getting more diagnoses.
Absolutely. In the meantime, I got a cancer too.
Oh my.
Yes. It started with alopecia. And I was like, oh my God, please, come on.
Something else.
Come on. Even this. Okay. And then 2 weeks after, cancer, 4th stadium. Jesus.
4th stage.
Yes, but everything went well.
Wow.
Everything went well. I had an operation, and for a year I was having checkups every 3 months. But hopefully I discovered the cancer at the end of my healing journey. And I already mastered many techniques and how to mentally prepare myself, how to visually prepare myself for the better. So not in a moment after the first cry, when I read about it, next day I was at the doctor and I said, all right, give me the best.
Treatment?
No.
Medicine?
No. What is the best outcome and what is the worst? And I wanted her to be honest and just honest as it is. And she told me, and I said, all right, I choose the best one and let's go. I went for a surgery. Everything went well because it didn't impact other organs inside. And just that was a blessing. And I really was 100% knew that everything will be fine. I haven't got not even 1% of doubt. Zero. I said, with the operation, we got rid of that part. That part came because of many things that has happened. And now I'm a different person. And there's no need for an illness to alarm me anymore. And all went really well after. So yeah, it was quite a journey.
Yeah. So you spent 4 years kind of wading through the unknown of this, and again, stacking diagnoses.
Yes.
So when did you start to, when, you started your own, you heard that voice, you started to heal. When did you start to notice the effect of that? When did you start to notice yourself feeling better?
Well, let's say it was not a straightforward line. Like I started today and I got, every day better and better. Yeah, for some time. And then I crashed.
Yeah.
Relapses and then up again and then down. But let's say that I never crashed back deeper than where I started. So it took me really 1.5 years. I started to, after maybe 6 months, I started to feel some improvements. So I had to cheer on myself all the way, because we want so much when we want to change, to transform, to get out of somewhere, some kind of emotional state or physical state. We want everything now. And it's comprehensible because you've been through a lot. And the more time you pass into the pain, you are more anxious to get out of it. But this is a very important thing, the meditation. Meditation teaches you to take one step at a time with no hurry, no anxiety. It clears your mind. It improves your focus of what's matter. Meditation is a big part in it, and I think it should be taught in schools, in preschools, to the kids.
Yeah, again, it's a discipline, right? And it's something that the more you do it, the better you are at it, right? So tell me a little bit about how you came out of your own illness, how you healed, and when did you stop relapsing, or are you still relapsing it sometimes? Okay. When did you stop kind of going back, and when did you really feel like, okay, I'm done. I'm healed.
Well, after that year and a half from when I started to work on myself, I went really deep into every memory I had. Then I wrote hypnoscript for myself to reconnect to me as a child. And when someone asks me, is it possible to change the past? I always say yes. Because the past is a memory. And you can change that memory. Oftentimes, what we remember from our past isn't even true.
Yeah.
We just connect dots. This is how mind works when it does not remember very well something. It just put things that are familiar, that has in many places around. And we can change that. I remember one of the works that I did on myself, for example, to show you how it works. When I was 8, 9, I had a big fear to get asleep.
To sleep? To go to sleep?
To go to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was 8, 9 years old, I was afraid to go to sleep. What I was afraid of, I feared that if I go to sleep in some moment, I will
Good.
Okay.
I promise. It's all good.
Okay. I thought that I will stop breathing.
Oh.
And that no one will notice, and that I will die, and no one will save me. Or other times was that someone, my mom or my dad, will die in their sleep, and I will be left alone in the world. And no one will come to look after me.
Yeah.
So that shows you how I had lived emotionally, things that were going on in my family, like in many families. You know, it wasn't one of a kind, bad environment. No, but my needs weren't met. I haven't felt secure. I haven't felt seen, not heard. So I just tried to do everything on my own. And working on myself, one of many techniques that I have developed is to go back there to my 8 years old in that bed, in that room, and I lay down by myself. And I talk to myself that it's okay to sleep, that nothing will happen, that I will watch over her, that she is safe, that she is loved. And this is what reparenting our inner child is, to give support and give what we haven't had at that moment, that will soothe our self, inner being. Because, inner child is an analogy of a subconscious mind. It's because till the age of 7, what we call today subconscious mind was all that we had. The critical mind starts to develop later. So that inner child, we, till the age of 7, this is our responsibility. This is how we can help ourselves, is by reparenting ourselves till the age of 7. And we can change our life forever. It doesn't matter how your life starts. You can rewrite those scripts, really rewrite them. It's not about forgetting. You don't forget, but you take away the emotional charge of things that have happened.
Yeah.
And then you rewire something more productive as love and care and understanding. And then you will remember what have really had happened, but you will have a supportive image too. That will be a story that you can tell without being hurt. And you have another story that it's combined, that it's empowering. Because your little you now have a support, a big fun that is you, the adult you. Because our subconscious mind it's a beautiful part of ourself if we let it be what it has to be. And when we say inner child, what are children supposed to do? Play, be creative. But when we are not healed, that little kid is taking care of our adults part. It's anxious. It's trying to support us to survive. And it's there, wounded, hurted, scared. It's not playing. It's not being creative. And this is it. When it's like in a company. You cannot have the creative part of the team do the paychecks. You just cannot. It's not working that way. I don't know what it will end like.
Yeah.
But this is it. The subconscious mind has to be the creative part of you, the playground where the ideas comes out and where your empowerment is, because subconscious mind is very well known for putting in autopilot things. Imagine that all your beliefs are wired correctly to empower you, to propel you forward, and it's all done on autopilot. Wow, what a life.
Truly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We just have to disconnect the wrong wires and reconnect the right ones.
Yeah. I really love that you specified that it doesn't have to be some huge, big trauma, or even that like your parents were awful people, right? It's things that happen to you in your childhood in terms of your needs not being met. It's not that you were surrounded by bad people or that people did bad things to you. It's, you know, it's just a lack and not even always a purposeful one. And so I think it's important to highlight that, because I think a lot of us sit and hear about these practices and think, oh, that's only for people that had a super traumatic childhood, that, you know, their parents just didn't care about them at all. And it's not true, right? Because we all get hurt. We all feel like our needs aren't being met because people aren't perfect and they're unable to meet all of our needs, right? That's really not their job at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I think that's a really great point when talking about healing. And even in general, I think I have this conversation with a lot of times with people where it's like, well, if I didn't go through something crazy or super traumatic or whatever, so I don't need therapy, or I don't need to heal. I don't need, and you know, I'm fine by my own, on my own. And it's like, there's just so much help out there to better understand yourself, better understand who you can be, who you can grow to be, if you choose to do introspective work. But it is a choice, and you have to choose to do it. Unfortunately, again, a lot of people don't choose to go there until their trauma. And I'll be perfectly honest, that was my choice. I also was like that. I didn't do really any introspection until after my own trauma. So I understand the thought process there and the thinking. But after having done some healing work, and there's plenty more to do for myself, but after having done some, I see the value in it, and I see how powerful it is. And I do see, oh my gosh, you don't have to have this huge, crazy event in your life that you have to focus on to really start to go inward and parse out what makes you and where you need to feel empowered, where you need to heal. Yeah.
Absolutely. It should be a communal practice.
Yes.
It's not about that you have to be on your knees to get help to, to get up. It should be a normal practice. A rendezvous with yourself was the better match. On the Valentine's Day, I always encourage people to date themselves. First, buy yourself flowers. And about the trauma, it doesn't have to be. Who said that trauma is something
big, scary.
Scary. Exactly. Trauma is, till the age of 7, we don't know anything. We were born, we didn't know if we were white, black, yellow, red, good, bad, pretty, ugly.
Yeah.
They told us in time who we were and who we are. So, since we didn't know anything, like a tabula rasa, blank whiteboard, we believed everything
that's put upon us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because
so
we have not any parameter to measure if it's truth or not.
Yeah.
We don't. Everything that was said about us, about ourselves, about the others, about life, about every aspect of the world. And so when we are talking about what is traumatic, if you're not feeling good and you want attention, you want a hug, and your parents are arguing in that moment and said, come on, go into your room right now. You don't understand. From our point of view of adults, they were just arguing and then mom or dad will go but you don't know what arguing means.
Yeah.
You just feel uncomfortable and you're depending on those big guys for survival. And when something is wrong between them, your survival alarm hits on and you start to fear for your life.
Yeah.
So it's that simple and it's that deep too. And that can cause to feel abandoned, to feel, and if that happens more than not, it's very easy to develop that deep disconnection with your caregivers. That means with the life, the source of life. Your ground is shaking. You are not firm in your life. You're not grounded. And then you can check your root chakra will be imbalanced. So when we are talking about that, everything is connected. Everything is connected. You can make a checkup of a person on many levels. You can check and you will see that everything is combined. Everything reflects each other.
Yeah. So how did you then decide to create your business? And well, first of all, if you can explain what you do in your business so that everybody knows. And then how did you decide to really turn what you had done for yourself into helping others?
Sure. So Mind Dive is my brand, and I have two signature programs. One is Golden Bridge Premium that has on its own other 6 smaller programs. And the other one is for professional, and it's Inner CEO Revolution. I have told you that I have studied many things and got many certification, and it's about I'm a certified hypnotherapist, life and mind coach, NLP master, I'm a meditation teacher, and I master several energetic techniques. And all that has helped me to master and understand the human mind, emotions, and the synergy of all our layers. I work especially on the subconscious mind. I'm going directly to the root of the problem. And we are transforming radically. What does that mean? It means that you are not changing and then you have to get back to me. No, I don't want you back. I don't want to see you again. Well, I have a community that after we are on another level working together. But once we had eradicated the weeds of the limiting beliefs, all toxic beliefs, then we nurture like we nurture the soil, so we can put a seed that will grow into the beautiful flowers. What does that mean actually? It means that we are rewiring our brain, our neuropaths.
Yeah.
Okay, for with a productive belief system. So I have 2 signature programs. One is Golden Bridge Premium Program. The other one is Inner CEO Revolution, crafted for professionals. And actually, we go to the core of the subconscious limiting beliefs that are preventing whatever health, wealth, joy, relationships, healthy ones, whatever. It doesn't matter how it turns out in your life, how those subconscious limiting beliefs turns up in your life. It can be fears, panic attacks, anxieties. It can be the lack of clarity and purpose. It can be unhealthy relationships. It can be your blocked mindset for wealth and abundance. Can be a weight loss that you are fighting with. It doesn't matter. We are working on why your problems had appeared in that way. So we are going to the root, and there we can transform. Because it's not about the change, because you change every day. But do you transform yourself? And as I told you before, it's about unlearning, it's about decluttering. it's about shedding off, and there you are, your beautiful divine self, and you have to unlearn and relearn about yourself.
Yeah. Wonderful. There's so much value in what you do and what you provide people with, the tools that you provide people with. And life is a constant state of learning and unlearning. I think unlearning is just as, if not more important than learning. Mm-hmm. And we don't often talk about it, right? That we inherit things, we inherit beliefs from all sorts of places. And they may not suit us later in life. And so we have to be willing to do the work to unlearn something, relearn other things. But yeah, I mean, it's such a valuable tool set to have. And once you have it, it's something that you can always use, right? It's once you own it, it can't be taken away from you. You know how to employ it. You know how to go through the steps. Mm-hmm. So it's wonderful. So we'll link to you in the show notes, but where can people find you and your programs? Like online, do you have a website or
of course,
social media?
Yes, I have a website and I have a social media, Instagram, Facebook, Chatter Social, the new audio app.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Audio visual app. Oh. Yeah, it's fantastic. And there will be held many workshops also.
Okay. I'm going to have to check that out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, we will definitely link to all of that in the show notes as well. So people can just click on the link and it will be easy. But is there anything that we didn't cover today that you wanted to, that's a part of your story that you wanted to cover?
Well, we could talk for days and days.
That I believe.
Yeah. But let's say that the main things we have covered, and you have been an amazing host.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for that. Really, I felt so at ease with you, and you have a gift.
Thank you.
You really have a gift. And I think that your audience knows that very well.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful that I had found out it.
I am so grateful to have met you. This has been such a wonderful experience, and I'm so glad to know you now. And I thank you. That's a very humbling spot to be in. And I feel like I am doing something that's within my purpose. And so to have that reinforced in any way is always such a gift and a privilege and truly very humbling. So I thank you for your story and your time. I do have one question that I ask everybody at the end of each episode.
Okay, didn't know that.
I almost forgot. That's how at ease you have me. I'm ready to end the episode, and I'm like, wait a second, you have to ask a question. So, I think you'll have no problem with this question, but it's through the lens of your experience. What does compassion mean to you?
Oh my, compassion is everything. Everything. Oh, you got me on this. Oof. Compassion is everything. I always say when I'm on my lives, be compassionate with yourself. And it starts with yourself and then with others. I remember when I forgave my parents, because there was a lot of anger, mostly suppressed anger toward myself. That is usually how suppressed anger works. It goes against you. And I forgave them. How? Well, they did everything they could and knew at that time with the information they had, the knowledge they had, the experience they had. Yes. If they knew better, they would probably do better. And this applies to everyone.
Yes.
Everyone. This applies to me too. when I do something maybe wrong, not knowingly to someone. Mm-hmm. You have to forgive yourself. And it's not that you have to forgive others. Let's say that forgiving doesn't mean that you are forgetting. So be at peace with that. No one is going to forget about your pain and about what you have endured. But you're doing yourself a favor because you're cutting the cord that is connecting that anger to that event or person. Give yourself a favor, be compassionate with yourself, and that will reflect on others. You don't need to carry with yourself all the troubles, all the hurts that has happened in your life.
Yeah.
You need to be light and free. So, yeah, compassion is
everything.
is everything.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful and so true. And yeah, when we can find that well of compassion for ourselves, it's more easily given to others as well. When our thirst is quenched, we are more able to give that away.
Absolutely. Only what you have, you can give.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you are in Robinj to visit your family and friends, yes?
Yes.
Because you live in Italy.
I live in Italy and I will be back at the beginning of September and carry on with my work, with my clients, with many new things coming up. And yeah, back to the routine.
Yep, back to it. But I hope you have a beautiful time in your hometown.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I enjoyed every minute of it. And it's not over. I take always time for myself. And this is what everyone should do.
Yeah.
Take some time for yourself. I don't care if it's 10 minutes a day, it's a weekend long. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. It's the best way to end it, right? Take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
It's the whole message. Thank you for listening to The Human Experience. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share it with your friends and family, share it on social media, and rate and review it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also support the podcast financially by going to my website, thehxpod.com, linked in the show notes, and clicking on Donate. It takes a lot of time and resources to create this podcast, so every little bit helps. Everyone has a story, and I'd love to hear yours. So be sure to check out the show notes for more information about how to stay in touch. Do good and love well.